Okay, we're starting, right.
les doy la
Well,
bienvenida a Semana
again,
Emprendedora
I
con la directiva de
welcome
CLAC.
Xiomara
Nos va a
Paredes,
dar
Executive Director of
bienvenida.
CLAC, who will make the welcoming word.
Gracias, Susi. Bueno, muy buenos
It's a
días a
very
todas y
good
todos.
morning, everyone. It's
Es un
always a
placer poder
pleasure
dirigirnos a
to
ustedes.
talk to
Si nos
you.
pueden dejar en el chat
If
desde
you
donde
can
nos
tell
están
us in the chat
escuchando, pues siempre es
where are
bueno
you
decir
listening
sus
to us? Where
organizaciones
do you
también.
come?
Bueno,
Well, they have
también han
asked
pedido
me
que les dé la
to
más
give you the
cordial
warmest
bienvenida y
welcome,
es
and
un
it's a
placer
pleasure
recibirles
to
y bienvenidas
welcome you
y
to this
bienvenidos a esta
presentation.
presentación.
In fact,
En
today
CLAC,
we are
pues
very, very
realmente muy
happy.
contentos.
It's
Es
like
como comenzar un año.
starting on Monday with good news, and the
La
idea
idea del día de hoy
is
es poder, en
today
primer
to
lugar, presentar
present
los
the
resultados del
results of
proyecto
the project
Organizaciones Ganaderas
Sustainable
Sostenibles,
Banana
en el
Organizations,
que ya
where
participaron
11
12
organizations,
organizaciones certificadas
Fairtrade
de
certified
en
organizations
Perú
have
y República
participated,
Dominicana.
and
Y estamos
from
todavía
Peru
más
and
contentos
Dominican
de
Republic, and
poder
we're
iniciar
even more
la segunda
happy
fase
that
del
we are
proyecto
not going to start the
Prospera
second phase of
Incluyendo
the project called
Organizaciones Productoras
Banana
Ganaderas
Sustainable
Sostenibles 2.
Banana
Y ese proyecto
Organizations number
permitirá
two.
ampliar
It
el
will
alcance y también
expand
profundizar en
the
los resultados
outreach and
obtenidos
go
en la
deeper
primera
into the
fase.
results gained
Este
in the
proyecto,
first
tengo que
phase.
decirles
I'd
que
like to
ha
tell you
ayudado a
this. It's not
mejorar la
has
calidad de
helped
vida
increase the
de los
livelihoods of the
participantes,
participants, but
pero
it also
también ha
has
permitido
allowed to
mejorar sus
improve
capacidades
their
en
capacities
relación
in
con la
regard
salud
to
del suelo, el uso de
soil health, use
biofertilizantes
of
y
fertilizers,
además
and it
ha
also has
fortalecido las
strengthened
capacidades
the
gerenciales, de
leadership
liderazgo
and
y
management
liderazgo de los
capacities of the
participantes,
leaders, of the
promoviendo
participants.
además de esta
In
manera
this way,
la
promoting
inclusión mayor de
higher
mujeres y jóvenes
inclusion of
en
women
los
and young
procesos
people in the
de decisiones.
decision-making processes.
En CLAC
We think at
consideramos que
CLAC
esto
that
ha
this has
sido
been
un
very good. It has
proyecto
been
muy
a
integral
and
porque no solamente
comprehensive
realizó la
project
parte
because it
productiva,
has not
sino
only
también esa parte
approached
del
the productive
empoderamiento, del
part, but also
fortalecimiento de
the
capacidad de liderazgo y de la
empowering, strengthening
inclusión
of
de
capacities
jóvenes y
part,
mujeres.
also the
También
inclusion of
sentimos
young
que este
and women.
proyecto ha
And
estado
also this
alineado a
project
esa
is
visión de las
aligned to that
CLACs,
vision
esa
that
visión
we
de
are looking for
acompañar y
to
fortalecer
strengthen and
nuestras organizaciones,
accompany our
impulsar el
organizations
desarrollo
by
sostenible
promoting
y
sustainable
promoviendo
development and
la
also promoting
autogestión,
the
los derechos humanos
self-management
para
of
alcanzar
human
estándares de vida
rights to
dignos
reach
para los y las productoras
uh,
y productores
good
y
standards for
también
the
para sus
producers and
comunidades.
the communities.
Queremos
We would
aprovechar
also
esta
like to make
oportunidad
use of
para
this
agradecer en
opportunity
gran
to
manera
thank
a la Agencia Francesa para el
the
Desarrollo
French
y
Development
también a
Agency
los
as well
Havelaar.
as
Ambos han sido
Macro,
importantes aliados
who
para poder
have been
implementar
the
este proyecto
uh,
y que ha
important
tenido la
partners to implement this
confianza,
project,
han
who
tenido
have
la
been
confianza en CLAC
trusting
para
in fact to
desarrollar la
develop
siguiente
this
fase.
second phase that we're
Creemos
going
que
to
este
start with. I think
tipo
that
de
this type
alianzas
of
son las que
partnerships
nos
are the
permiten
ones that
a los
allow us to
conjuntas
together
encontrar
find
caminos
ways to
para
promote
promover
not
no
only
solo un comercio
fair
más
trade,
justo,
but
sino
also
también
a
uno
more
más
equitative
equitativo e inclusivo. Así
model.
que
So
nuevamente
again,
muchas
thank
gracias
you
y sean
and be
bienvenidos y
welcome to
bienvenidas
this
a este
webinar.
webinar.
Now the
Paso la
floor goes
palabra,
back
Susi.
to you, Susie.
Muchísimas gracias,
Thank you, Xiomara. And
y ahora
we
le
am
damos la
welcoming now
bienvenida
the
al
executive
director
director
ejecutivo
of
de
Max,
Max
in fact, I'm
Francia,
in France. I hope I'm
Mr.
pronouncing this well.
Blaise
It's smart.
Desbordes. Uy.
Pas de problème. Bonjour, bonjour à tous. Je m'appelle Blaise Desbordes. Je suis très heureux d'être ici ce matin, ce midi, pour célébrer avec vous l'avancement du projet. Je voudrais saluer et remercier l'Agence française de développement, particulièrement les bureaux au Pérou et en République dominicaine qui accompagnent ce projet soutenu par l'agence, les ambassades aussi de France au Pérou, en République dominicaine, et bien sûr le maître d'ouvrage du projet, la CLAC, le réseau Fairtrade des producteurs d'Amérique latine et Caraïbes, ainsi que les plateformes locales de commerce équitable au Pérou et en République dominicaine. Ce projet, Xiomara l'a dit, est un projet intégré de multiples dimensions et donc il y a aussi des acteurs différents qui le suivent de près et de loin et je veux les saluer. Quelques mots peut-être sur le fond. Nous sommes extrêmement fiers en tant qu'ONG nationale Fairtrade en France d'avoir, grâce à la CLAC, accès à un tel projet de développement qui a un rayonnement continental. Les leçons que nous apprenons maintenant depuis 4 ans vont servir à beaucoup plus que les dizaines d'acteurs concernés. Il va y avoir une diffusion et un intérêt beaucoup plus large, et je n'hésite pas à parler de multi-pays. Et ça, c'est un motif de fierté très grand que notre ONG ait pu monter un projet bien au-delà du périmètre de Max Havelaar France. La deuxième chose, et le redire à tous ici, c'est que la banane, c'est le produit phare du commerce équitable en France. Tous les Français connaissent votre banane équitable, durable, puisque elle est celui qui a la part de marché la
Is
plus
a
grande
product
en
that
France.
has the
C'est à peu
biggest
près
part of
13% de
in
toutes les
the market
bananes
in France.
et ça représente
Around
presque
30% of all the
130
bananas
000
that are
tonnes qui
commercialized, and
arrivent
it
sur le territoire
represents lots
français.
of quantities of
Donc, ce
tons at
produit est un
the
produit
market.
populaire,
So
c'est un
this
produit
is
de
a
base
very
qui est aimé des Français,
popular market, a product that the
apprécié
French
dans tous les
love, and
magasins.
it is
Nous n'avons
very
pas
much
quelque chose qui s'appelle
appreciated in
une
all
chaîne
the
de production.
stores.
C'est tout
And we don't have
l'export
exclusivity with
de
any
délicitation.
store.
C'est un
We
succès
work with all
commercial
the
depuis
supermarkets.
de
It's a
nombreuses années
commercial
parce que
success
la
thanks to
qualité est
you,
là
because the
et
quality is
l'impact
there, the image as well
là-bas,
is there,
l'accompagnement, le sérieux
the
de la
work,
filière est
the
là.
support
Et c'est pour ça qu'il y a
with the
aujourd'hui
work. So
une telle
again, this is
réponse
the result of all the
en
work
France.
that um,
Deuxième remarque, c'est
uh,
qu'aujourd'hui,
can
c'est un
explain
projet, la
the
banane
success with
équitable et
this
durable,
product.
qui est
In this
très
project,
pertinent
the sustainable and
particulièrement
equitable
pertinent
bananas,
et
it's a
incarne
pertinent
les sujets du moment.
project
Les
nowadays
sujets
because
sont ce qu'on
it
appelle
involves all
l'environmental
the
compliance,
market
environmental behavior,
situations,
c'est-à-dire
uh,
l'exigence
like, for
que le marché
example,
européen demande aujourd'hui
uh, all the
pour les produits
demands
qui
that
viennent des
the
États-Unis.
European market
Et donc nous
demands
avons la
today
force,
uh,
c'est une bonne
with
nouvelle.
products
Mais
coming
dans ce
from
projet
outside of the
dont nous parlons,
EU.
nous allons
And these
avoir
are
la
good news. So
possibilité
again, we're
de
going to
l'implémenter
keep in mind this
formellement
progress
à
that we
partir de
have
cette année.
made,
Et même
and
concevoir comme un
we are
produit
going to
avancé aux
um,
nouvelles attentes
uh,
de la Commission
again
européenne, d'une
take
part,
this
des
learned
entreprises, d'autre
practices,
part,
uh,
pour respecter leur
what
stratégie
the European
de
community
défense des droits
expects,
de
what
l'homme, leur
companies
stratégie développement
expects,
durable,
the
et bien
strategies of
sûr
human
les
rights,
consommateurs.
and
Et enfin,
what the
le
consumers are also
le
expecting
dernier
from this
point,
project.
le
And
plus important,
again,
c'est que ce
the
projet est
most
pour tous les
important point
producteurs.
at the end is that this
Et en
project is for the
France, ce que
producers
nous
themselves.
expliquons aux
In
consommateurs,
France,
qui est le
like we
centre,
have
la racine
explained to
de
consumers, is
tout,
that the root
c'est la
of all
compréhension
of
que
this is
derrière un
the
produit, il y a
what
des
is
consommateurs.
behind of all those products. It's the
Et pas de
um,
banane sans producteur. Et
comprehension
certainement pas
of
de banane durable
who
sans
are
les
the
producteurs
producers, because there
qui
are
ont
no sustainable
notre race
bananas if there are no
au challenge
producers
de faire face aux
that
défis,
cannot face
de
the
faire face aux
challenges
attentes
nowadays and
et
the
de
demands
diversifier leur vie quotidienne.
and
Donc c'est
in
un
their
projet qui est
daily
pour
life.
eux,
So this is
qui
a
est avec
project
eux
that for them
et
is
par eux.
and
Donc on est encore une fois
it
très
is a
fiers de votre
project for
éditoire et
them,
sur nous,
and we are
bonjour,
happy.
toute l'équipe
And
qui est
you
là
can count of
pour
all
être
of our
extrêmement
team
sérieuse
to
à vos côtés
support
jusqu'au bout du chemin.
at the
Merci beaucoup.
until the end of the project. Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias, Leis, y a todo el equipo de Max
Thank you,
France
all the
también,
team,
que
as
durante
well
todo
as the
el
team
proyecto
in
de
France,
segundo
as
ha sido
they
gracias
have
a
great
colegas y
partners and
aliados.
colleagues in this project. Now I
Ahora
would
me
like
gustaría
to
invitar a María
invite
Peña, presidenta de la
Maria
CLAC.
Peña, who
Ella
presents,
nos va a
will
contar un poco
present
más
about
sobre
CLAC,
los
and
retos que
she's
están
going to
teniendo los
explain the
proyectos, cuáles
challenges that the
ganan,
producers are
así como
facing,
el rol que ha tenido
as
el
well as
proyecto en
the
todo eso.
role that OBS project
Ojalá que les
has had
resuene.
and all of
Adelante,
this.
María
Please go
Peña.
ahead.
Muchas gracias.
Yes, can you
¿Ya tiene
help
la
me and
presentación,
put up
Susan?
my presentation on screen? Thank you
Muchas gracias
for
ser
being
parte
part of
de
this
este lanzamiento de
launch of
OBS
the
Plus y
OBS
hablar un
project. And I
poquito
would like to
desde la
talk a bit
perspectiva
about
de
the
los productores y
perspectives
la
of the
relevancia que
producers and
tiene
the
este
relevance
proyecto
it
para
has
responder a
um,
muchos desafíos
for
y retos
the
que
direct uh,
enfrentan las organizaciones de
challenges
pequeños
that
productores y sus
these
clientes en este momento.
organizations are facing at this
Pero
moment.
antes,
But
la siguiente, Susi, pero
before of
antes
this,
de entrar
I'd like
en lo
to
que
go
son
deeper
realmente los
into
retos
the
y
challenges
desafíos, quisiera hablar un
of
poquito
this
sobre
area. And I'd like to
relevante
also
que
talk
tiene
about
el
the
sector
relevance that
familiar
family
en la cadena de
farming
valor
has
del banano
in the banana chain. And most of all, the relevance that this family farming has to reach sustainability that uh, is important for the strategies that we have implemented, also sustainable development that goals that we have for 2030. First, family farming is still key for the development of the rural economy and also to create conditions um, on the field because family farming is relevant as small producers live in the fields and everything that they earn remains and stays in the field. All the family income are invested in goods and services at the local level, and this benefits the rural economy. Also, the family farming has an important impact, either negative or positive, in the rural-urban migration. Um, as we can see that in there has been an important um, in uh, the countries as uh, more than uh, um, uh, 51% have migrated. And this is important for the economy. With 87% of the organic certified producers around the world are in the um, global south, uh, planting 24% of the soil dedicated to an organic production. That means that the majority of producers are small and they are important to feed the world at the local level as well as the global level. So it's the small producers who feed 51% of the global population. In terms of employment generation, the banana sector is important as 77% of the people that collaborate in the banana production in small plants are hired. And lastly, the small producers are committed with the climate actions. The majority of our producers, and thanks to the support of OBS, they produce according to agriculture and ecological programs or schemes that take care of the soil and the environment. This is the reason for which we need to promote family agriculture.
And with this, we go to the challenges that small producers face and their members. The small producer in the family structure, the general term in banana is there's a great gap in prices. Banana continues being the least expensive fruit sold in Europe, even less expensive than the one sold in grown in Europe. So when they sell it less expensive, it is attracting more customers, and that, of course, affects the income of the small producers. The prices continue being very low, and sometimes it doesn't cover all production costs, and they have increased a lot. Also, there's challenges of facing and recovering from climatological events that affect production and the profitability of banana. Another event that we have is the requirements that are growing, but also the regulations from the European Union that we need to comply as small producers in order to place our products in the market. And with all this challenge of lower income plus present requirements, and many of the young people are not that interested in continuing with a family agriculture, especially with a banana agriculture small scale. if we continue to the challenges generated for the small producers organizations, I believe that everyone for 2025, we have the challenge to comply with the organic regulation changes. I believe that 63 to 65% of the organizations of fair trade produce organic banana, but 95% of these organizations do not comply with changes in regulation. And this is a very strong challenge. We need to comply in 3-4 months in many of the organizations. And many of the organizations are still in doubt what they need to do and how to do it. And probably we will have the same case as we had with the regulation in deforestation, that the implements are not enough in order to reach compliance. And then the second challenge the organizations have is that since we have ever more standards to comply, we cannot put a banana with 1 or 2 certifications. Minimum, we need 3 certifications to place a banana in the market. And at the end, we have ever more, not only more standards, but also more regulations in the European Union to be complied with. And that requires that the organizations provide more services and assistance to their members. That increases cost and indirectly affects producers' income. Another challenge we have at the organization level is the same challenge that the producers have, and it is productivity. Productivity of the small producers has gone down due to a lack of investment in the field, climate change, lower prices, and this productivity has gone down. But also demand in the market for the product produced by small producers has gone down. Countries like the Dominican Republic and Peru have gotten up to 25%, have lost up to 25% of the market. They represent a minority. The small producer is part of the agenda of fair trade producers, and they are still the main participant of fair trade, but is losing visibility, and it has gotten worse globally in banana to reach decent salaries, but the debate hasn't gotten to the level of that debate for decent salaries for the producer and the workers. And it is faced much more towards the larger producers and less to the small producers. All these challenges have caused the exit of many producers, have increased the economies of the producers, and the financial charges are very high, especially that the small producer doesn't have much access to financing, and the organization looks for loans for the members to face all these challenges that have a very high financial burden on the producers. And although we want to continue working with small producers, very often we don't have evidence data of the challenges that the small producer has in the banana supply chain. How have we contributed? We can continue contributing with the SDGs. The SDGs help and look for decent income for the small producers and increase sustainability in different areas. In the social, environmental, organizational, and economic, in order to fight climate change, improve environmental practices, and respect human rights. SDG 2 is going to focus on three areas that are highly important. One of them is a strengthen entrepreneurial management of the organizations. Two, continue providing technical assistance to the member to increase productivity and resilience to climate change, introducing agroecological practices. And three, generate advocacy capacities because the family and future well-being has to do with the well-being of all, and part of it has to do with the government. And this allows us to support public policies that support family income, that focus on better income and better quality of life for the small producers. How these intervention areas that I have mentioned contribute to these challenges. The entrepreneurial management contributes to a better efficiency and service quality that we need to give to our members, reducing production costs, but also manage the external risks we run and face them in order to continue forward and participate in a value chain at a global level. Also, the entrepreneurial management allows us to give more visibility to the small producers to reach the objectives, among others, of the Green Pact and the human and environmental rights. The technical assistance by the OBS project supports the small producers to reduce their production costs, increase productivity, but also helps so that the young people are better interested in continuing being small scale banana producers in the different value chains. And it allows us to be more resilient, not only climatologically, but on lower prices that we know is going to continue being a challenge in the banana value chain. Ecological practices provided by GDS 1 and 2 contribute to the environmental fingerprints, also the dependency of external input, and allows us to position the small producer in an ever more demanding market on environmental subjects, and it also strengthens the advocacy capacity of the organizations towards our governments, promoting, supporting policies for family agriculture, promoting rural development to reduce migration, contribute to employment generation and food and global security. Thanks to SDGs, we have again an opportunity to promote small-scale agriculture and allow that the small producer continues being a relevant producer in that value chain. Thank you very much in the name of all producers in Latin America, especially the Dominican Republic. Thank you, Marique, for this presentation. And we have the colleagues from France, Laurie, please, and OFD, that is the French Development Organization. They are with us from France, Peru, and Dominican Republic. So we have Simon with us. Good afternoon to you, Simon. And we have some questions. We have to be able to talk with them. Marique, please go ahead.
Gracias, María. Buenas tardes.
Thank you very much. In the name of all producers in Latin America, especially the Dominican Republic. So we have the some questions. We have to be able to talk with them. Marique, please go ahead.
Adelante.
Thank you very much. I would like to give the floor first to Simon and his colleagues so they can introduce themselves. And then, yes, we would ask some questions. Please, Simon.
Merci beaucoup, Mariké. Donc moi, je suis
Thank you, Mariké. I'm Simon
Simon
Gutmeyer. I work in Alliance section of civil society in Paris. I'm responsible of the follow-up of the Sustainable Banana Project. I have two colleagues with me, and they are going to introduce themselves. And they are in the different countries where the project is carried out. I'm Ivan Dele, in charge of the project of the social sector. I'm only been 1 month in the Dominican Republic. That is the reason why I haven't had the opportunity to see the activities. But I believe we can add some more words after Simon. I don't know whether Charles is with us. Charles from Peru. While he's connecting, welcome to the Dominican Republic, Ivan. It's a pleasure to have you with us and the small producers that participate in the project. I have a question, especially we talk a lot about these regulations that are ever more challenging for sustainability for the European organizations, but this generates co-responsibility among the producers that supply the product to the European Union. And we see at the short term lots of interest from the European Union to contribute to a never fairer the supply of banana for the European Union. But after many years, we can see that many practices have contributed to destroy the sustainability, that now it needs to be rebuilt. And the new regulations are looking for a contribution to this reconstruction, but we understand that is quite a short time to rebuild in the short time a destruction that probably took some time. So my question is, why the French Development Organization can or whether the French Development Organization can contribute to these challenges in the European Union on for the producers who one way or another they need to comply with these regulations, especially in a dialogue that is representative. And France can maybe explain what is the reality of the small producer and what is the time that we need to adapt to the new regulations and influence in this time. But also the content is more adapted to reality, because what we understand is very good intentions in an accelerated time and not always adapted to reality, especially of the small producer. We have seen it in deforestation. That thing that is going to give us a little bit more time. Organic, they haven't wanted to hear, but ever more. How much you can be allies and speakers of that small producers, so that the European Union can better understand reality and what we reach as a whole can contribute to reality and not to exclusion. Please, Simon and Ivan and team.
Merci beaucoup pour cette question très, très pertinente. Je pense que
Thank you very
Max
much
Havelaar
for
aussi
this
aura
very
sûrement des éléments de
important
réponse. Mais
question.
ce que je peux vous
I
dire, c'est
think
que
that
nous, on
more
regarde en
than
particulier
elements of
la
response, I
directive
can tell
zéro
you that
déforestation, qui, comme vous
we
le
do
savez ou
not
venez de le dire,
see the
a été
directive of
reportée d'un an, hein,
zero
pas seulement parce que
deforestation
il y avait des pays jugés comme peu
not
portés sur les
only
questions
1 year,
environnementales,
but
comme le Brésil ou
there
les États-Unis qui
were
l'ont demandé, mais aussi parce que les États membres eux-mêmes se sont rendus compte qu'on n'était pas prêts. Et cette directive zéro déforestation, elle va impliquer en effet de réfléchir au poids qui va rejaillir, qui va peser sur les petits producteurs, parce que même si l'obligation légale elle porte sur les opérateurs, sur les importateurs, au final, ça implique toute la
on the
chaîne et donc ça peut
importers,
perturber toute la
and at
chaîne.
the end, it
Et ce serait dommage
implies
qu'il y ait un
all
risque
the
d'éviction
chain.
pour des
It can
petites
affect the
organisations
supply
de
chain.
producteurs,
And
parfois qui
it
sont en
would
difficulté
be
pour produire de la
pretty
data,
if the small
perdent des
producers
contrats, perdent des
would be
marchés, en
affected
particulier
by
si
that,
créent
and
par
as
ailleurs des
they
efforts de
lose
durabilité,
contracts in the market.
notamment dans le cadre
They are
d'une
doing
certification
efforts,
équitable.
particularly in terms
Donc,
of
je
sustainability,
travaille sur un
fair
projet pilote
certification, fair
en Afrique de
trade, and
l'Ouest et puis
we
on
worked
réfléchit de manière générale avec nos
in a
partenaires,
pilot
avec
project,
Commerce Équitable
and in
France, avec
general,
Max
we're
Havelaar
doing this
France
with our
et avec vous.
partners,
Donc on peut utiliser
with
aussi ce type de
Fair
collaboration
Trade France.
pour
And as
que vous portiez aussi
mentioned, this
la voix de
brings
ces petits
lots of
producteurs et qu'on puisse
collaborations
réfléchir
and
ensemble
partnerships
aux accompagnements qui sont
uh, uh,
nécessaires,
so that we
sachant
are
que donc
able
pour
to together
la
think of
directive
the
sur la
support we can
déforestation,
provide them. This is the
l'enjeu,
reason for
c'est qu'il y
which
ait
of the
des outils de cartographie
deforestation
qui soient mis en
committee
place,
is
puis ensuite des outils pour
thinking
tracer
about the
le produit
tools or
jusqu'à ce
mapping
qui est
tools that
exporté
are going to be
en Europe.
implemented
Donc faire
to
correspondre l'usage du
trace the
sol
products
et le produit
until
final.
the product arrives to
Et donc
Europe. And in
ça
this
suppose
way,
la maîtrise d'un
um,
certain nombre d'outils, notamment par
able
les petits
to
producteurs,
track
et
the
une
use
réflexion au
of
niveau
soil
des
and the
États
final
aussi,
products. To that
pour qu'il y ait accès
purpose, we need
à des systèmes de
um,
cartographie. Il y a aussi des
uh,
initiatives
to
pour
have in
alléger les politiques
place
et dispositifs. Il y a
certain
des
mapping
initiatives
systems
allemandes
uh, and other initiatives
ou d'autres
to
initiatives
lower the cost. For
des
example,
agences
the German
nationales unies
initiatives
pour
or other
avoir des systèmes
initiatives
libres d'accès.
from the
Mais voilà, on
United
confirme que ça ne
Nations
suffit pas
agencies in
et qu'il
order
y a un
to
besoin
have
d'accompagnement.
free access
On pourra en discuter
systems.
peut-être
We really
pour
need
d'autres
to
activités parce que, comme vous le
accompany
savez, cette
them,
directive,
and we
elle
can
concerne
talk
6
about
commodités
more activities
et ça ne concerne donc pas le
that
canal,
are going to take
mais
place because, as
je
you
pense qu'on en
know, with
reparlera avec la CLAC
uh,
et Max
the
Havelaar en
project
particulier pour le
concerns
café et le
six
cacao.
uh,
Maintenant, l'autre
products,
directive
mostly
qui a été
bananas, but we're also
adoptée
going to talk
au
with
niveau
CLAC
de l'Union
about
européenne,
coffee and
mais
cocoa.
qui reste à traduire dans les
The
législations
goal that
nationales,
was adopted at
c'est ce qu'on
the
appelle en
European
anglais
level, it has not
Corporate
been yet
Sustainability
translated
Due
to the
Diligence
national
Directive,
environments, which is
donc
what we
la
call in
directive
English
pour la
corporate
diligence
due
raisonnée en
diligence.
matière de
And
soutenabilité, en matière de durabilité pour les entreprises.
it is
Donc rapidement, hein, donc,
sustainability
j'ai pas
initiative
beaucoup
for the
de
companies.
retours sur
And
cette
I don't
directive
have
qui est encore
a lot of
pour l'instant
information about
uniquement un projet qui reste à
this
traduire état par état
regulation
dans
at this moment. It
dans
is
les
in
lois
still
locales.
a
Mais
project.
ce que je
It
comprends, c'est qu'il y a
has
surtout une
been, it
volonté
needs to be transferred or
de demander
translated
plus de
into
transparence aux grosses entreprises.
regulations
Contrairement à la
per
directive sur la
country in the
déforestation, il y a un champ qui est beaucoup plus limité. Alors, il y a à la fois un
EU,
champ plus large parce qu'on
because
parle
to
de
the
tous les
contrary
produits,
of
mais
the
il y a un champ plus limité en termes
deforestation practices
d'application
and policies,
sur
it's a
les
more
entreprises. Donc, c'est quand même
important
des grosses
change for the
entreprises, hein,
products
500 000 employés,
because in terms
450
of
millions de chiffre d'affaires. Et
application
puis, il y a
with
cette notion de
companies of
diligence raisonnée,
uh,
due
five
diligence,
and
comme on dit
5,000 employees and
en
more than
anglais,
5 million dollars.
qui,
It's a little bit
à mon
difficult,
avis,
but
va
this
permettre de maintenir,
uh, reasonable
disons, une notion un peu
diligence,
vague
due
qui aurait nommé,
diligence is
c'est-à-dire qu'en
always
gros,
for
on
me
pourrait les appliquer que s'il y a un manque
like a
vraiment
vague
intentionnel ou une
notion of
négligence
what is
forte en
expected.
matière de droits
Uh,
humains ou d'impact
but it
environnemental et
is
social.
necessary to detect
Et
if
oui,
there's a
certainement, ce
lack
sera
of
très contraignant
intention in
parce qu'il y
terms
aura
of
plus
human
ce risque
rights
pour
and
les grosses
environment. And
entreprises.
certainly,
Mais d'une part,
there are
ça
going
reste
to be
sur du
more
sol et
constraints for certain
d'autre part,
companies. But On the
Je pense
other
qu'il y aura
hand, this is
des définitions de
implemented
durabilité, des définitions
slowly, and
d'impact
it
humain
is
et
there are going to
d'impact
be
environnemental extrêmement
sustainability
imprécis.
and human
Donc
rights
voilà, ça va se faire
definitions,
progressivement, il me semble.
as well as
Et
environmental
donc là aussi, il y
impact
a un risque
definitions
peut-être
that
pour les
need
petits
to
producteurs
be
qui auraient du mal à justifier leurs pratiques
implemented. It
parce
will
que
happen
les entreprises
gradually.
auraient
And it
envie
seems
peut-être
to me that
de
the
se sourcer,
producers who will have a hard time in
d'acheter ces
justifying their
produits auprès
practices is going
de
to
plus gros
take some
producteurs
time.
capables de justifier leurs pratiques en termes de droit du
And
travail, en termes de
also,
maîtrise des risques environnementaux. Mais
the big
par rapport
companies
à la certification
um,
équitable, moi je vois quand même aussi une grosse
could, for
synergie.
example,
Je pense que la certification équitable est déjà une garantie très forte
if
pour une
it's
entreprise européenne pour prouver qu'elle a fait ses
it
due
is
diligence, ses
important,
diligences
this
raisonnées, pour,
equitable
voilà, pour montrer
aspects for
qu'elle s'approvisionne auprès
European
de producteurs qui ont des
um,
bonnes pratiques.
companies to
Et
show the
le
supply
produit
of
dont je
producers
parle
who have good
aujourd'hui est
practices.
aussi un bon
And
exemple
also the product
de ce
of
qu'on peut
which we're
faire
talking
pour
today is a good
accompagner la
example
capacité des
today
producteurs
of what
à
we
mieux se
can do
documenter, à
to
mieux documenter
accompany the
leurs bonnes
producer
pratiques
capacities, and
et à
in
mieux être
this way
en capacité
better document their good
de se placer sur les
practices,
marchés européens.
um,
Comme je le disais,
and
peut-être
train them
que mes
in
collègues
a
de
better
Max
way
Havelaar
so that
apporteront
they
un
can
éclairage
reach
supplémentaire,
the
mais
European
peut-être avant de
sites.
leur
As
donner la parole,
our
je voulais
colleague from
en
Max
profiter
Havelaar are going to
pour
have
donner la
more
parole
explanations
à mon
about this, but
collègue
I would
Charles
like to now give the
qui n'était
floor
pas
to
connecté
my
sur
colleague
mon lien mais qui s'est connecté.
Pavla,
Et
who wasn't
avant de lui donner
connected
la parole, rappeler
a while
aussi au
ago. Now
passage que
he is has joined us,
bien
and
sûr
also I'd like to
une appréciation
remind
très
you that we
favorable de ce
have
projet, sinon on n'aurait pas accepté de
a
financer la
very
deuxième phase
favorable
qui commence.
opinion of this
Et comme je le
project.
disais,
Otherwise,
c'est aussi
it wouldn't have been
un
possible
partenariat
to have
qu'on
our
développe
second
avec
phase.
vous. On est très
And as
content de
I
voir
was mentioning,
tout le
it is
leadership,
an association, a
toute la
partnership
maîtrise qui est donnée
with you,
à
and
la
this
CLAC
is
et aux coopératives dans
very
les deux pays.
uh,
Et donc, on est à votre
nice
écoute,
to
comme je le
see all
disais, et
the
votre écoute, ça passe
leadership
notamment
and
par
the
les agences
importance
locales,
that
dont
has been given to the
Charles fait partie
project in all the
pour le
countries.
Pérou.
And we have
Voilà, donc peut-être,
listen to
Charles,
the
si tu
local
veux
agencies, and Char
te
is
présenter
precisely part of
officiellement
a
ton
local
projet.
agency in
Gracias,
Peru.
Simón.
Charles, please, can
Buenos
you
días con
introduce
todos y
yourself?
con todas. Yo soy Charles Berton, responsable de proyecto en la agencia
Yes, I
AFE
am
de
Charles
Lima,
Berton, the
en Perú.
IFE
Unas breves palabras sobre un poco el
agency in Peru.
contexto,
I
el
would like
marco
to
en el
tell a
cual
couple of words,
se hace
tell
este
about
proyecto.
the
Creo que
framework in which
Maite
this
ya
project
ha
takes
presentado muy
place.
bien este
And
contexto, pero para decirles que
this
desde la AFE estamos bien
in this
conscientes
context, I'd like to tell you that
de los
at the
problemas, de los
FP,
desafíos de la
we
agricultura
are
en el Perú,
aware of
sobre
the
todo la
problems and the
agricultura
challenges
familiar.
and the
Vamos a
problems
decirles
in the
en
family
crisis,
farming
tanto
area that
con los fenómenos del cambio
we're going
climático, el fenómeno del
to
niño que hemos
come into
visto el año
crisis
pasado,
with the
que ha
El Nino
sido un
climate
golpe bien
phenomenon,
duro
which is what we saw last year, which
sobre
hit
los
hard last year.
pequeños
And
productores, sobre
it's
todo
about the small
con
producers,
huaicos, con sequía,
mostly with uh,
más
Huaycos and
recientemente los
the drought,
incendios en la
and
Amazonía.
most
Entonces, a este
recently the
contexto,
So in
fires
this
in the Amazonia
context,
region. So in this
problemas de
we
context,
aprovisión
add
we
de
can add
fertilizantes,
supply
estoy
problems,
hablando de
supply of
guano, por ejemplo,
fertilizers, guano, for
y
example.
en
And
este contexto
in this
hablamos también
context,
del
we
nuevo reglamento de la Unión
also can
Europea.
talk about the new
Coincidimos para
guidelines
decir
from
que la
the
intención
European
es muy
Union, and
buena,
we coincide in
pero la
saying that
aplicación
the
hemos
intentions are very good, but
encontrado
of course the
que
applications of
responsables
the
de
regulations
organizaciones
we
de pequeños productores
have found
que nos han
responsible
compartido su temor,
persons
¿no?
from small producer
Si
organizations have
para
shared
un gran
their
productor
fears with us because
un
for a
contener,
big producer
no sé cómo
to,
se llama,
I mean,
pisar
um,
es
it
rechazado,
to
es un golpe duro,
if a
pero
container is
significa para un
rejected,
pequeño productor
it's a very hard
realmente
situation,
arruinar su
but it
producción
is, of
y
course,
perder su desaparición.
a situation where
Entonces
some
hablamos
producers could
realmente de
disappear because
vidas,
of
de
that.
empleos
And we
y,
talk about
y de impactos muy,
their
muy fuertes.
livelihood, their
Ahora,
employment,
¿qué
which
podría
could
ser la
have an
labor de la
important
FE?
impact. So now,
Es
what
cierto,
can
aprovechar un
the
poco
FD
de
do
su
better?
red,
Well, it's
del
true to me.
diálogo que tenemos
Better
con la
use
Unión
of
Europea
dialogue
para
networks that we have
autocompartir un poco
with
esta
the
visión de los
European Union
agricultores
to share this
y,
vision
como
from the
mencionaba
producers.
Simón,
And as
través
all
de
Simon was
estos
saying,
proyectos, a través de
through
asistencia
these
técnica,
projects, so the technical
compartir la
assistance
información,
to be
porque en
able
este
to share
caso
the information,
hubo
because in this
mucha
case there
información
was
contradictoria
a lot
sobre
of
la fecha de
contradictory
aplicación
information
de
about,
la
for example, the
normativa,
application date
quién
of the new
los
guideline,
productores iban a ser
um, who the
impactados o
small
no,
producers who were
cuándo,
going to be
cómo. Así
impacted
que
by this or
apoyar
not,
un
when and
poco
how.
a que
So
fluya
to
esta información
support
creo que es sumamente
the
importante y
information
luego brindar
flow,
apoyo
which is
técnico
important, and also
para lo que
provide
hemos
technical
visto a la hora
assistance
de
to
drones, para dar solamente un ejemplo,
what we
porque
have
no
seen, for
hablamos de
example,
geolocalización.
the
Es
purchasing of
cierto que desde
drones.
Bruselas
It's
es un
true that
poco
from
complicado
Brussels
entender
it is
que
a little bit complicated
el
to
tamaño de
understand that
una
the
chacra que es
size of
muy pequeña, pero
uh,
sobre todo
small
que llega
uh,
desde el río
farm that
por
is
arriba en
small
la
that
montaña,
goes
es muy
from the
difícil
river
hacer una
to up
geolocalización
in the mountain.
precisa
It's very
sin tener un plan de
difficult to have a
topografía
precise
adaptada para
geolocalization without the appropriate technology to
el tamaño
measure the
de esta
size of
chacra.
this
Y para
small
terminar
plot.
sobre el
So,
rol de la AFD, pero
to
también
finish, I
de
would
las
like
organizaciones de
to
la sociedad
continue
civil
talking about the
sobre el
role of
tema de la
the
agricultura
FD, but also
familiar
the civil
de África.
organizations,
Seguridad,
civil
seguridad
society,
alimentaria.
and
Les
food
puedo decir
security.
en toda
I
transparencia
can
que
tell you
el
very
rol normalmente de la
transparently that
AFD es
the
de
role
dialogar con los estados, con los
normally of
ministerios.
FD is to have a
En este
dialogue with
caso,
the
en el caso
states,
del
with the
Perú,
ministry.
hemos
In this
tenido
case, Peru, we have had
dificultades en este diálogo con tanto el Midagri como el
difficulties in
Mina.
the,
Y a
like,
la
for example,
fecha
the
no
MENA.
tenemos
And
un diálogo
at
productivo, no
this day,
tenemos
we don't have a
financiamientos
productive
hacia el
dialogue with them.
propio
We don't have
gobierno en estos
funding
temas. Y vemos una
uh, uh,
debilidad por parte del
government at
gobierno sobre
this
el
time.
tema de
There
los
is a
seguros
weakness that we
climáticos,
can see with the
el
government in
apoyo a
handling
la
the
agricultura.
climate
Así que
phenomenon
en este
while supporting
contexto,
the
apoyar
farming
a la sociedad
sector. So,
civil,
in this
a la
context,
CLAC,
it is
a
about
través de Max
supporting
Havelaar,
civil
es
society,
sumamente
CLAC, and
estratégico.
through Max Havelaar, which is very
Hablamos de
much
proyectos de
strategic.
montos
And also,
menores,
we're
pero
talking
bien
about
estratégicos
uh,
para nosotros, así
minor
que
projects
estamos
or
muy
smaller
orgullosos
projects that
de
are going to
trabajar
be
con
strategic. So we
ustedes
are very
sobre
proud of
unos
working with
temas
you
muy
uh,
prioritarios
on
sobre
these topics that are priority at this moment.
Muchas gracias, Simón, Iván y Charles.
Thank
Y
you,
muy importante su
Simon,
reflexión
Ivan, and
sobre
Charles.
aliados en el
Charles, it's
terreno, ¿no?
important your
Aliados en nuestros
reflections
países para
about
incidir
being
en
allies
la
on the
política
terrain
pública,
in this
que es una
country,
urgencia.
also with public
Aliados
policies,
en
to be able to
Francia
have
o a nivel
incidents, also
global
to have
para incidir en
partners
la Unión
in
Europea.
France and at the
En ese
global
sentido, me
level, as
gustaría
well as the
preguntar
European
al
Union. So
equipo
in this
de Max
sense, I'd
Havelaar
like to
Francia,
ask
que
the Max
realmente también
Havelaar
es
team in
aliado del
France,
productor en
who
Francia
is
para crear un
allied
acceso
of the
justo
producers
a
in
los
France to create
productores que
access
producimos un
for
producto de comercio
producers
justo.
who produce a
Especialmente,
fair
y
trade
ahí Max
product,
Havelaar Francia ha sido un gran
especially,
aliado
and in Max
siempre
Havelaar, they have
en poner
been
el
great
producto del
partners
pequeño productor
in
en el mercado.
taking care and
Entonces,
promote the
mi
product of the
pregunta al
small
equipo de Max
producers
Havelaar
in the market.
Francia
So
es,
my
en
question
esta
to the Max
alianza
Havelaar
que
team
tenemos
is,
entre
in this
Max Havelaar
partnership that
Francia,
we
los
have with
productores
Max
y con la
Havelaar France, the
AFD,
producers, and
¿cómo
with the
podemos
FD, how
potenciar
can
esta
we
alianza para
potentiate
tener
these
un diálogo
partnerships to
con
be
el
able to
sector
have a
privado
dialogue with the private
enfocado
sector
en el acceso
that is
justo
focused on
del
the
pequeño
fair
productor
access of
bananero
the
al
small
mercado
banana
francés
producers
y ojalá
to the
los
French
mercados en
market
Europa, ¿verdad?
and hopefully
Tomando en
also more
cuenta
markets
que
in
la
Europe,
estadística nos dice
considering and
que
taking
los
into
pequeños
consideration that
productores,
so this
sobre todo
tell
los de
us that
Perú y
the
República
small
Dominicana,
producers
en
in
los
Peru and
últimos
Dominican
2 3 años
Republic in the
han
last
perdido un
2 to 3 years
25%
have
del
had
mercado.
a
¿Cómo en conjunto
25%
podemos hacer
share
ese
in the market?
trabajo
How
de
can
ver
we
a
together
hablar
do
de
this
la
work
relevancia del pequeño productor,
and
tomando en cuenta
talk
también que las
with
organizaciones de pequeños
benefit to small
productores
producers,
siguen vivas
considering
en el
that the
comercio justo, no
organizations of the small
necesariamente
producers
fuera del
are
comercio
in
justo? Adelante.
the part of
Muchísimas
this
gracias, Mauricio,
important
por
group,
la
but not
pregunta.
necessarily of the very group.
Una
Well,
palabra
thank you
primero
for
para
your
decir
question.
que abrir
First, I'd like
mercados
to
para
say
promover
that to
redes de
open
comercio justo
market
internet es
for
el mandato
fair
número
trade
uno de
markets
Max Havelaar
is
Francia. En
number
todos casos
one
tenemos un equipo a
mandate of Max Havelaar in France, we have a team in charge of uh, dealing with the private sector, with the brands, with private companies, precisely to open the market and keep the market so that it is stable. So, really, the organizations of small producers and their members participate. Nowadays, the French market represents 700,000 tons of bananas that arrive every year to the French market. 95% is organic banana, and the majority of French distributors uh, is what import this product. So uh, we need to distribute this fair trade banana to the majority of other big distributors in France. So the goal is to maintain and keep this market while we are also looking for new distributors. We also have a strategy in place of working with public entities, the cities, and the local authorities so that they also buy these bananas because they are the ones that are going to uh, put them in the market. They're going to uh, send them to hospitals, to schools. So these public purchases are also important and are a goal for us. For example, in Paris, there is uh, uh, 100% of bananas and cocoa, for example, have to come from fair trade groups by 2027. We don't have volumes at this moment, but it could represent that 30 billion tons could be part of the procurement figures in Paris. So this is going strong in the next year. So the goal with this project and the rest of the projects that we're going to start developing together is that uh, the commercial development has to take place on one side, but not separately from the development or commercial and sustainable activities. It has to go hand in hand. So what we need to do and try to do is articulate these two activities, and this can be explained, for example, with private partners that are going to fund some programs, trusting that they are also going to put in place the activities that they think are useful. Let's say, for example, do this, as I say, the producers have to have also the command and control of what they or when they want to sell, and also include commercial trainings, uh, also including direct links between producer associations and distributors, which was the case when we had producers from Peru coming here to Paris. This was an example of what we can do thanks to these programs. And I think that the third thing that we're going to do in this OBS project is to look for public incidents or political incidents about the fair income, not only here, but also in the global south. For example, in the Dominican Republic, it is good to take care of the political side, but at the same time, it's a commercial topic. There is a historic uh, uh, journey between what is policy and what is market. But we are confident that we're going to continue having and playing this important role with the private sector in the OBS Phase 2 project. And we also have our German colleagues that are here today with us who helped us also with this program, and not only focus in this as I say, also open other markets in Europe, and so that you can count on us in the coming 3 years. Thank you. Thank you, Laurie. And I think that this project is starting at a very good moment. At this moment, uh, it's not everything is not okay. It needs action and the development, which is the basis for sustainability. And it's sustainability, the only guarantee that is important in the European market to continue operations in the commercialization of these projects. So again, sustainability and market is a new opportunity for the new producers in Latin America, the Caribbean. So I thank you on behalf of the producers of the Dominican Republic and Peru, this partnership that continues in time and that we're going to start a new phase number 2. So again, 1,000 thanks on the name of all the organizations that participate. And I hope that more are going to participate in future to show that together we can.
Thank you, Marique. Lari, we didn't introduce her. We have worked the OBS one project with her, and she's been working from France, and she's with us from Paris. Thank you. I didn't introduce myself either, but you did it for me. Thank you very much. And well, now I would like to invite Adriana Valle. She's from the strategic unit, and she has news from an initiative from Paris, France. Thank you. Hello, Susie. Yes, precisely. We have been working from the strategic communication unit from CLAC with the colleagues from Max Havelaar, France, with the communications unit from Max Havelaar. And the good news is that we have developed a series of products, and we are going to have a campaign from the UBS campaign in the results of the project, and also we will develop materials for OBS too. In order not to make the presentation too long, I will present the video with the support of David and the project unit, so you can see in a summarized way what have been the results of the project. The project Sustainable Banana Organizations has as main objective to promote the improvement of life of the producers from 11 banana organizations of fair trade in Peru and Dominican Republic. The initiative was executed by CLAC and financed by the Development French Agency and Max Havelaar of France. During the first stage of the project implementation that concluded April 2024, 1,241 people were reached. The project actions were oriented towards production improvement, productivity and quality of the banana, and the strengthening of participating organizations. The reason why the development of leaders of the organization's development was reached. Before the project, only 2 organizations were considered to have a high and very high management competencies, and as well as competencies in commercialization and communication. But now it is 8 of 11 organizations, and 9 of each of the people trained say they have increased their competencies and feel apt to respond to the market and buyers' requirements. And the inclusion of women and youth are fundamental elements of sustainability. That's why Actually, policies were updated, including them in the participant organizations. The project contributed to improve the participation of women and youth in the different positions. At the end of the project, 30% of the decision-making positions in the 11 organizations were taken by women and 10% by young people. For the strengthening of the producing aspects, the project implemented an integrated strategy. Two leadership schools were developed for the service in both countries, reaching 300 producers, thanks for the cascade training methodology. Besides, 9 micro enterprises were implemented for bioinputs production. Before, 53 of the producers did soil fertility and conservation practices. At the end of the project, 93% did it, and 9 out of the 11 parcels showed soil improvement. It used to be only 32% of the producers that use organic and biological pesticides and fertilizers. After the project, it increased to 93. Well, 6% only had diversified their production. Now it is 42.5% with culture, beehives, or other activities. At the end of the first phase of the project, 31 of the participants interviewed considered that their livelihood is sustainable, compared to with 4% that had that perception at the beginning of the project. These results in the implementation of the project made possible the approval of the second phase of sustainable banana organizations that CLAC will implement with the producers, with the financing of the French Development Agency and the support of Max Havelaar, France.
Bueno, acá les mostrábamos
Well,
es una
we
de las
were
piezas, es
showing
como
you
el video de
this is
presentación de
a
resultados, pero
short
además me
video
gustaría
of
decirles que
for the
este
presentation of results,
proyecto
but I'd
tuvo
also
una
like to tell you that
particularidad
this
y es
product
que también tenía
had
un componente de
certain
comunicaciones bastante fuerte
characteristics. It had a
y
very
eso
strong
implicó que
communications
teníamos
component,
también
and
materiales que
it
se
also
realizaron
resulted that
pues
we
con los
had
protagonistas, ¿verdad?
materials
Que
that
son los y las
were
productoras,
prepared
¿no?
with the
Entonces tenemos
main
algunos
characters,
testimoniales
that
muy
is the
lindos
producer. So we have
de
really
ese
good
material y pues he
testimonies.
sacado
We have some
algunos extractos
very nice
justamente para
material, and we
compartir
have
a
had
través de redes
some
sociales. Aquí les voy a pasar uno de ellos y luego
short
les voy a comentar un poquito más
stories or
sobre
images
qué
that
otros
we are sharing on our
productos
social
comunicacionales
networks.
se han hecho
And I'm
para
going to
pues
show you
difundir más
some of
los
them
resultados del proyecto.
precisely to
Entonces
show
les
the
voy a
results of this
compartir
project. I'm going to share with you at this
uno de los
moment
materiales.
some of the materials that we have prepared.
Este es un material que
And
está en formato
this
vertical,
it's
como ustedes saben, cada vez
uh,
más para redes
material
sociales, pues
in
vamos
vertical
teniendo
mode. As
formatos
you
más
know,
cortos
for
y
the
justamente se
social
está
network,
usando
we
mucho
have
este
shorter
formato que se llama el Reels.
materials,
Entonces
and
les comparto,
really
este es de una productora en Perú.
this is what we have prepared. This is from
Muchas
a
personas
producer in Peru.
pensaban que una mujer no podía liderar.
Many people thought that a woman could not
Presenté la primera lista, me fue
leader,
rechazada.
be a leader. So I
Seguí
presented my
insistiendo
first lead that was
en
rejected.
la
I
segunda
continued
lista
insisting
hasta que se
in the
pudo
second list until it was
concretar las
possible,
votaciones.
when it was possible
Pero hubieron
to
personas
concretize
que
the
no
votes.
querían
But
que
there were
una
people
mujer
who
liderara
didn't want
como
that a woman
vicepresidenta.
would lead or
Y entonces,
and become a
gracias a Dios,
president
la
or
gente me apoyó, los
chairwoman. But
productores,
thank
y
God, the
ahora
people who
tengo el cargo
supported the
como vicepresidenta
producers,
de
now I
administración.
am the vice president of management. Yes.
Entonces, si ustedes ven, pues son justamente los
So as you can
protagonistas quienes
see,
nos cuentan
it's
lo que ha significado este
them,
proyecto.
the
Ha
main
sido,
characters
si
who are
ustedes
telling
veían
us about the
ya en los
project. If you were
resultados,
able to see
ha sido un
in the
proyecto que ha tenido
results,
también
it
mucho
has been a
impacto en
project that
temas de
has had
inclusión de
lots of
mujeres y
impact
de
in terms
jóvenes.
of
También
inclusion of
nosotros
women and
como
young people.
comunidad, pues
And also, we
preparamos
as a
esto que hemos
community, we
llamado un
prepare
brochure
what we
En
call
donde
a
se
brochure,
resume
where
de
it is
manera muy concreta,
summarized
pues los principales hallazgos del
the
proyecto. El brochure también nos
main
lleva a una
findings and
página
results
web
of the project.
especializada
It
que ya
also
también
has a
tenemos
link, a QR code
traducida al
leads to the
inglés y que muy
webpage.
pronto
It
también
has been
nuestros
translated
colegas de Max
to
Havelaar
English,
Francia
and
la tendrán
also
en
our
francés.
Max Havelaar
Esto es
colleagues
pues
will
para
translate
mostrar
it
de una
into
manera muy
French.
resumida
This
pues
is
todos
to
esos logros que ha
show in
tenido
a
este
summarized
proyecto,
way all
que
the
como bien
achievements
decían
that this
Xiomara,
project has
Enrique y
had.
Blas,
And as
ha
Xiomara
sido
was
un proyecto
explained it,
bastante integral, que ha
and
tomado
it has been a
muchísimos
very
temas desde
comprehensive
conectividad, desde
project that has
inclusión,
considered
liderazgo,
productivity aspects,
fortalecimiento gerencial.
inclusion, leadership,
Entonces, bueno, también este
management,
es otro de los
strengthening,
materiales que
and
hemos hecho y
this
que
is
también
also
esperamos que
of
pueda
the
servir
materials that we
para
have
mostrar de
prepared
una
that we
manera
hope
muy
is
sencilla, muy
helpful to
resumida, todos
show
los grandes resultados que ha
in
tenido este
simple,
proyecto. Y bueno,
summarized manner all the
ya para
results that we have
finalizar,
had in
pues
this
también quería
project. And now
mostrarles un
to
poquito
finalize, I
de
wanted to
algunos de
show you
los materiales
some
que
of
se han
the
hecho para la
materials that
campaña ya
we
en
have
redes
prepared
sociales que
for
vamos a estar
the social network
haciendo en conjunto
campaign
con las colegas de Max
that we're
Havelaar. Y
going
bueno,
to do together
estaban los
with the Max
testimonios
Havelaar
como el que
colleagues.
ustedes vieron
There
de
you see
Amy.
the testimonies,
Todos estos materiales
right?
también
The one
están
I showed
traducidos al
you, all of
francés.
it is
Y bueno, también
translated to
tenemos
French,
frases,
into
¿verdad?, de los
French, and we also
participantes.
have
Por
uh,
ejemplo,
other
es una
testimonies
un
from the
señor que
participants.
participó,
For
digamos,
example, we
en
have this
las escuelas
uh,
gerenciales en
sir
Perú
here
de
that
la organización
participated in the
APP-BOSA.
management
Y tenemos también pues una
training
productora Milevis que participó
BOSA in
de
Peru, and we
República
also have
Dominicana. Y
a
también
participant
tenemos
from the
algunos
Dominican
resúmenes,
Republic,
justamente esos
Mirelis
datos, ¿verdad?,
Herrera.
que
And
nos
also
impactan
here we have
muchísimo,
a
¿verdad? Por ejemplo,
certain
datos relacionados a
percentage
la capacitación,
presentation of data
fortalecimiento de
related to
capacidades de mujeres
training,
y jóvenes,
uh,
datos también
competence
bastante
strengthening,
relevantes
with
sobre el
important
cambio, ¿verdad?,
data
en el
about
uso
the
de
change
fertilizantes orgánicos, la
in the use of
diversificación de cultivos.
organic
Entonces, todo
fertilizers
esto pues lo van a estar
in
viendo en las redes
uh,
sociales tanto de
the
CLAC
crops. So
como
you're
de
going
Max
to be able
Havelaar
to
Francia.
see this in
Y esperamos
the
pues que
social
también
networks in
esto
CLAC and Max Havelaar
promueva, ¿verdad?,
France
que las personas
social
conozcan
network,
más sobre la
precisely
situación
to
de los pequeños
promote so that
productores y
people are able
productoras
to
de
know
banano,
more about the small
y también pues que
banana
apoyen este tipo de
producers, and
proyectos que han
also
sido tan
to support this
importantes
type
y que
of
han
projects that have
generado
been
tantos
so important
impactos.
and have
Entonces,
generated
no me
so
queda
much
más que
impact.
agradecer también al
So I
equipo,
just
¿verdad?, Roxana,
like to
David, que
thank
han
my
estado
team,
liderando todo
Roxana,
este
David,
esfuerzo,
who have
también a
leadered
Caroline y
all
Lisa
this
de
effort.
Max Havelaar
Also,
Francia. Y bueno,
Lisa
decirles
from
que
Max
esperamos que esta
Havelaar in
comunicación también
France,
tenga
and
su
we hope
impacto
that
y
this
que ha sido
communication
también un
has
gusto
an
poder
impact
trabajar en
too.
conjunto
And
con
it
las
has been a
colegas de Max
pleasure
Havelaar
to
Francia.
work
Muchas gracias.
jointly with the colleagues from Max
Muchísimas
Havelaar France.
gracias,
Thank you.
Adriana. Nos
Thank
hubiera
you,
sido
Adriana.
imposible contar con esta
And
información si desde el
it
comienzo no
wouldn't
nos
have been
poníamos a
possible to
pensar
count on this
qué
information if at
información
the beginning
necesitábamos para tomar
we wouldn't
decisiones
have thought
para
about the
asegurar que el
information
proyecto
that we needed
cumpliera
to
con lo que estábamos
make
esperando
appropriate
todos
decisions so that the
y,
product
y que
fulfills
a
all
su
what
vez
we
nos
were
permitiera al
expecting.
final demostrar si nos había
And
ido bien o
it
nos
has
había ido mal. Entonces,
allowed
al
us
final
to
tuvimos
see
el
if we
reto
have
de
done well
resumir,
or bad.
pero
So that was the
y
challenge in
resaltar que esto se logra
summarizing
ahora porque
our
desde un primer
achievements.
momento
But I
estábamos
also
pensando qué
highlight that
queremos
this
alcanzar y cómo lo vamos a
has
medir.
been achieved today, and we were at the
Y
beginning
bueno,
thinking
ahora yo
what were
quisiera
we want to reach and how
presentarles
are we going to
a
measure. I
David
now would like
Quevedo.
to
Él
present
es
you to
coordinador del
David
proyecto OBS,
Cabrero,
que
who
nos va a
is the
hacer una
coordinator of
presentación
the
de qué
OBS
sigue,
project, who is
qué
going
viene
to
con el
present
OBS2,
us
si nos fue tan
uh,
bien, porque
the
necesitamos una segunda
OBS2.
parte. Cuéntanos.
What are we going to need
Hola,
for that
buenos
second part?
días a todos y todas.
Good morning, everyone.
Déjenme compartir mi pantalla.
I'm going to share screen.
¿Me confirman si se ve?
Please tell me if you can see my screen.
¿La vemos?
Yes, we can.
Genial. Bien.
Wonderful. Well,
Como dice Susi, ¿por
as
qué una siguiente etapa de OBS2?
Lucy was
Bueno, en
mentioning, why
OBS1 creemos
a
que hemos
second
establecido las
phase of OBS?
condiciones
Well,
para
first, I think we
aportar
have
de manera
established the
genuina al
conditions to
fortalecimiento de las
contribute
organizaciones de
genuinely to the
pequeños y
strengthening
pequeñas
of
productores y productoras de
the
banano
small
y sin
banana
herbicidas,
producer
en un contexto
organization
de muchos
and
desafíos,
all
como
its
nos contaba
members,
Marique de
and
Peña en su
in a
intervención.
context with lots of
En
challenges,
esta primera
as it
etapa
was
también
explained.
aprendimos
In
a
this first
consolidar los
phase, we
progresos
learned
iniciados
to
y que fueron
consolidate the
identificados en
processes
la
that we
evaluación final del
initiated,
proyecto
and
OBS1,
also what
requieren
we
poner en
have
marcha procesos de
finally
mejora continua
assessed
de
in
mayor
the first
tiempo
phase. who
respondan a las situaciones
need
cambiantes que
to
enfrentan los
have a
pequeños
continuous
productores y
improvement
productoras y sus
to
organizaciones.
answer to the changing conditions
En
for
ese
producers and
contexto,
their
¿qué esperar
organizations.
con el
So in
proyecto
this
OBS2?
context, what can we expect of the
Desde CLAC y
OBS2
desde el equipo del
project
proyecto,
from the
buscamos que
point
con
of view of CLAC
OBS2
and
poder
from the
contribuir a
project point
reducir
of
la
view?
vulnerabilidad
We
de
think that
las
it could
organizaciones
help
a
reduce the
los cambios
vulnerability of organizations
que enfrentan, ¿verdad? Principalmente
towards
en el
the
mercado y cambio
changes in
climático,
the market and
para
also
que
the
puedan ser
climate
capaces de
changes,
responder a los
so
nuevos
that they are
desafíos
capable
que
of
enfrentan
answering
de
to those
manera
new
sostenible
challenges
e
that are
inclusiva.
faced
Pero
in a
también esperamos
sustainable
que
and
puedan
inclusive
reforzar su
manner. But we
visibilidad
also
y
hope and
credibilidad
expect
frente a sus
for
socios
them to
comerciales,
reinforce their
los actuales,
visibility
pero
and
también los futuros,
credibility towards their
principalmente en los temas
commercial partners,
relacionados en derechos humanos
mainly
y
in regards
medioambientales.
to human
Y
rights
además,
and
pues
environmental
esperamos abogar
um,
por motivar la
rights
consecución de
also. And
ingresos
we
dignos
also
vitales para
expect
los pequeños
to
productores que
lobby
pueda
and
contribuir
motivate
a mejorar sus condiciones de
so
vida y
that
las de sus
the
familias
producers can
principalmente.
achieve vital
¿Cómo
income
buscamos hacerlo?
and
¿Cómo es que
fair
pensamos
income.
hacerlo?
How
Bueno,
would
como
we
lo hemos
like
venido
to
haciendo en
achieve this?
OBS1,
As we have
trabajando
been doing in
de la
OBS1,
mano con las
we want to
organizaciones
do this
del
by
cometa,
working hand in
involucrándolos
hand
en la
with
toma de
the
decisiones,
uh,
¿verdad? A través de los espacios de
organizations of
gobernanza
the
que tenemos
goal
para que se
target
puedan
group
empoderar
by
del proyecto,
strengthening the
¿verdad? Y
knowledge of
puedan hacer lo suyo y a
OPPS
partir de ahí
so that they can
también
empower
involucrarse
themselves and
activamente en
do
la
their
ejecución
own
de
and
todas las
also
acciones,
actively involved in the implementation
fortaleciendo
of
los
all the
conocimientos de
actions.
las
Also by
organizaciones, ¿verdad?
strengthening the
En
knowledge
los
of the
temas
organizations
empresariales
in
y
regard
organizacionales
to
para que
management and
puedan responder
organizational
de mejor manera
management
a los
so
desafíos que
that they can
enfrentan,
also
como las
answer
demandas de
to the challenges
sostenibilidad del
that are
mercado
facing,
europeo,
like, for
en
example, the
particular en el tema
sustainability
de
demands
derechos
of the
humanos,
European market, in
medioambientales e
particularly in terms of
inclusión.
human rights, environmental
También
conditions, and
pensamos
inclusion.
con
We
OBS2
also think
acompañar a
that
las organizaciones para que puedan
as
escalar al
OBS2 to
interno de sus
accompany the
organizaciones
organization
y de
so
su
that they
membresía
can
los aprendizajes que
scale up
tuvimos con
the learnings of
OBS1, ¿verdad?
OBS1
De manera que más
so
productores y
that more
productoras puedan
producers and
incrementar su
can
productividad,
increase their
puedan
productivity
ser más
and
eficientes
can
y puedan ser más
establish
resilientes al cambio
uh,
climático.
and be
Y
more
por último,
resilient
fortaleciendo
in
las
terms
capacidades
towards
para
climate
que
change.
los y las
And
pequeñas y
lastly,
medianas
to
productores y
strengthen
productoras de
the
banano,
public
junto con
policy
sus
so that
organizaciones,
the small
a través de sus
producers
estructuras colectivas de fair
of
trade,
bananas
puedan
with their
abogar por políticas
collective
públicas que
structures of
contribuyan
fair
a un
trade,
ingreso digno
um, it can work
y del
together
mercado justo.
in achieving public
Todo
policies
ello en el
that
marco de un modelo
contribute
de
to
gestión que
a fair
tenemos en
income.
CLAC para todos nuestros
And all
proyectos que
this
implementamos.
together
Nuestro modelo de
with
gestión
in
se
the
basa
management
en la
model of
generación
CLAC
de capacidades
projects,
a
which is
través de
based on the
aprender haciendo,
generation of
en la
capacities
toma de
through
decisiones
learning by
basadas en
doing, in the
evidencias, basadas en
decision-making
información que se
process
pueda
based on
obtener desde
evidence,
campo,
based on the
basadas en
information
el
that can be
empoderamiento de las
generated on the
organizaciones que
field, and
puedan
also
ser
based on
parte
the
del proceso de
empowering of
toma
the
de decisiones.
organizations that can be part of
También
the
en la transparencia y
decision-making
la
process.
rendición de cuentas,
Also
pero
in
no
the
solamente hacia nuestros socios
transparency
externos,
and
hacia nuestros
accountability,
donantes,
but
sino
not
también al
only towards
interno,
our
hacia los
donors,
propios
but
cometas,
also
hacia
to the
las
inside,
organizaciones y hacia la
to
membresía
our
de estas
target
organizaciones
groups
que
and
participan del proyecto.
organizations that
Y por
participate.
último, nuestro modelo de
And
gestión no es un modelo
lastly, our
único, no es un modelo
management
rígido, es un
model is
modelo que se basa en
not
principio
a
comunes,
rigid model,
pero que se
is
adapta al contexto y a la
a
realidad de
model
cada
based
una de
on
nuestras
common
organizaciones.
principles, but
Y
not a
todo
unique
ello
model
en un
that is
contexto
based in
de los
organization. All
principios
of
del
it
comercio
in
justo.
a context of fair
¿Con
trade
quiénes lo
principles.
vamos a hacer? ¿Con quién vamos a
So
trabajar?
with
Bueno,
whom are we going to work?
OBS2 es una siguiente etapa.
OPS2 is a
Mantenemos
second
nuestro
phase.
cometa, en este caso para
We
la siguiente
continue
etapa
working with our
vamos a trabajar
target
con 10
group or
organizaciones
goal
de Perú y
group. We're going
República
to
Dominicana,
talk with 10
organizaciones como
organizations of Peru and the
Mercedes, como
Dominican
Santa Cruz,
Republic
como
in this
Asanor,
new
como
phase.
Sabana, como Vanilino,
Massivana,
como
Arellino,
Apepeosa, como
and
Afrocosman, como COPAC,
Pepeosa,
¿verdad? Que son
COPAC,
parte del
and all
cometa
these
del proyecto.
organizations
Pero
that are
también con
part
nuestros
of the
aliados
project,
locales, que son
but
parte
also with our
importante en la
local
implementación de nuestras
allies
acciones a nivel
that are
terreno.
important
En
for the
este caso, con las
implementation of our
coordinadoras nacionales de
actions
comercio justo, con la
on the
Coordinadora
field.
Nacional de Comercio Justo
In
en
this
Perú,
case, with the
con la
national
Coordinadora
coordinators of
Nacional de
fair
Comercio
trade
Justo en Dominicana, con la
in
Cordón,
Peru
¿verdad?
and the Dominican
Y
Republic, de
estos
la Cordón,
proyectos, los
and
éxitos que hemos
also
visto de
this
OBS1 no es
project,
posible
the
sin todo el
successes
equipo
that
que está
we saw
involucrado
in
directamente en la
OBS1 would
implementación en
have
terreno
not
de las
been
acciones,
possible
tanto de
without the
Majara Francia
innovation of the project team, MHF and CLAC.
compañeros
Havelaar and CLAC, as
centrales
I
y
say,
locales, como
our
Daniel Polanco,
colleagues on
pero
the field
también con nuestros
in
compañeros de
the
CLAC en
Dominican
Brasil, como
Republic,
la
for
directora
example, Tania
regional andina y
Polanco,
todo el equipo
but
de
also
desarrollo
the
local. Y
Andine
en Perú
Regional
también
Director
con
in
Fabiola
Peru,
Seminario, que es
also
parte
with
de nuestro equipo del
Fabiola,
proyecto en
who
terreno,
is part
pero
of the
también con todo el
team,
equipo de CLAC,
and
desde
all the
la
CLAC team
coordinación andina y todo el equipo de gestores que
from
están
the
involucrados,
Andine
y con todos nuestros
coordination,
colegas
and
de
all
las
the
diferentes
our
unidades que
colleagues
conformamos CLAC,
with
que
the
directa o
different
indirectamente se
units
involucran en el
in
proyecto y
CLAC that
aportan a
have
poder
to do
lograr los éxitos
directly
del
or
mismo.
indirectly in the successes.
Eso de mi lado, muchas gracias y esperemos que la
This is
OS2
from
pueda
my
tener
side. Thank
los
you very
mismos
much, and
éxitos que
I
hemos
hope
tenido en la
that
OS1 de seguir contribuyendo
SBO has
al
the
fortalecimiento de las
same
organizaciones de los
good
pequeños productores
results
para lograr
as
un
is
comercio mucho más justo cada
the
día. Muchas
one
gracias.
has had in order to have a fairer
Muchas gracias,
trade
David.
every day. Thank you. Thank you,
Ahora
David.
vemos que hay
Now
personas que tienen
we
consultas.
see there are
Entonces,
some people that have questions.
Tal vez tú quisieras hacernos alguna consulta, algún comentario. Adelante.
If anybody wants to ask a question or make a comment, please go ahead. Good day to all. More than a comment, congratulate. Congratulate the organizations that have done this work, and we still have the reflection that a project of such a small time doesn't achieve that many questions. That is not true. We can see it can be done, and those changes have been possible, and that's what I wanted to share with everyone. Congratulate you for the wonderful work, and especially the producers and the organization that in our countries, as well as the NFOs that take advantage of the small spaces for the well-being of all. Thank you. Also, the people that are with us might have a question or a comment at the end. We're closing. Yes, please go ahead. Luis Suarez.
Aquí, muy buenos días a todos.
Very good morning to all.
Qué gusto y qué satisfacción
What a
escuchar todo
pleasure
este
and
resumen que nos han
satisfaction
hecho
to hear the
sobre la
summary
gestión realizada
on the
EOS
work
1.
done
Yo he participado en muchas
in
reuniones y eventos
SBO1. I
realmente
have
trabajo que se ha
participated in
desarrollado.
many
Nuestro
many
reconocimiento y
meetings,
agradecimiento a David, que
and the
realmente es
acknowledge
liderar
and
este
thanks
proyecto
to
en
David that
Perú.
has
Todos,
led
como él
this
menciona,
work
todos
in
decimos
Peru.
una situación
And
tan
as he
difícil en
mentioned,
nuestro
it's
país,
been
¿no?
a very big challenge in our
Quisiéramos
country.
que esta vez también se apoyara
And
el, el
we would
esforzarnos
like
en seguir sacando
to
así de bastante
have
en el valle de
the support of in the valley
necesario
where
que
the banana
tengamos esas
producers
alternativas
are,
y sobre
and it is
todo
necessary to have
en
this
esta segunda
interest,
etapa de las
especially
AOS,
during this
quisiéramos también que se
second
apoyara
stage
eh,
of
mucho
advocacy
la red de banano nacional para juntamente con nosotros, ¿no?
of the
Propagarla,
National Banana
el pequeño
Network,
productor
and that a
cultura,
small
que representa la mayor
producer
cantidad de productores de
were
banano en Perú,
the
pueda ser
greatest
escuchada
amount
por
of
David. Sí hay
producers
posibilidad de
of
hacerlo.
banana in
Lo que
Peru
falta
exist
es
can be
organizarnos
heard
más
by the
para poder
government. It can be done. We just
hacer
need
que el
to
gobierno
organize
atienda
ourselves
tanta
so
demanda
that
que
the
hay no
government
solamente ahora con
pays
Fusarium,
attention
ayer
to
el valle de
so
Chillón
much
de agua,
demand
pero lo
in the
importante es
fusarium and
también,
the
¿no?,
demand
la
of water. And
organización,
what's
que la
important
red
is
de
also the
banano, allá también se
organization
ha
of the
conformado
banana
una Junta
network
Nacional de Banano que
and
está
a
tratando de
national
fortalecer.
board of
Quisiéramos que también
banana
se apoyara
that is
esta
being
iniciativa
strengthened.
para poder
And
nosotros
if this
complementar
initiative can
desde
also be
la
supported
coordinadora
to
nacional
supplement it from
aquí
our
en Lima,
national
poder también
coordinator,
acercarlos a las
and
autoridades,
from Lima
tanto de
get
los
closer
ministerios
to the
como
authorities of the
del propio
ministry
Parlamento,
as
para que
well
avancemos
as
estos temas. Muchísimas
Parliament.
gracias y
Thank you very much, and actually acknowledge the work that has been done during the days management, and the best of luck to continue the support of this event that is starting. And when will the resources to start this work are ready? Now that it has been said it's going to start, thank you very much, CLAC team. And let's have another 20 years. Thank you very much.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you
por sus comentarios y sus
for
consultas.
your comments
Estamos en los procesos
and questions.
internos
We are in the internal processes
arreglar la documentación para poder hacer ya la
to
emisión de
arrange
recursos.
the
Y en
documentation, to
breve
have the
David estará
resources.
comunicándose con los comités operativos de cada país con más detalles.
And to work with more details before closing, we would also like to thank Fair Trade Germany that has co-finances BO1. It has been very close to the initiatives we've been implementing in banana in our countries within the framework of the project. Thank you to all, and before closing, let you know or tell you that we're very close to have 60 years that John Paul VI launched the encyclica Popular in Progress, that is to promote the well-being and progress among all peoples. And it is also pointed out that all persons have a right to reach well-being and progress in the earth. Subsistence is not enough, but progress in well-being is fair. So to acknowledge that things can be done to improve, and it is interesting to see that fair trade has one way to contribute to the collaboration among the peoples, to improve the conditions of the people who want this improvement. And fair trade doesn't do it only through promoting a fairer trade, but with these cooperations where we get together with governments, with public funds, with trading organizations and organizations in general, as Marique already mentioned. And we see these barriers that are reaching the sustainability and well-being and together in alliance. I believe it is a good time to be thankful, to be in this path of challenges, but congratulate all for what is coming. And this is the time to take more energy to continue forward with the advances that are being achieved. So thank you, Marique, Xiomara, Simon, Ivan, Lori, Charles, David, and so that we can see how we are all contributing, and we can continue contributing to solve these very complex challenges that the producers have. Have a wonderful afternoon and day. And see you next time.
Gracias.
And
Chao.
night also. Thank you. Ciao.